So when we speak to franchisors, we see that there are typically 5 key problems that they face in terms of finding and utilising the data. The first and most common problem is the right access to the data. And access means being able to connect to the data sources, the franchisee data sources or the data sources in head office with continuity. So being able to access data when you need it. And then the tricky bit, which flows into the second biggest problem, is being able to cross-reference that data, which feeds into the second biggest problem, which is about data silos. So typically a franchise group grows over a period of time by adding in best-of-breed applications. So that could be a point of sale application, a CRM, loyalty, back office. And before you know it, you've got 4 or 5 best-of-breed apps that all have data within them. And of course the problem then is that we find it very difficult to cross-reference the data across each of those platforms. So the second biggest problem is the ability to remove the silos and start seeing the data as one version of the truth. The third most common problem is around governance, and it flows directly on from the data silos. What happens is that if there's a number of different sources of data, there's quite often a number of different versions of the truth, and we want one version of the truth. So a typical business analyst will be sourcing data from multiple applications, and another business analyst could be doing the same thing, and effectively they're drawing out source data that may well be different. So governance, which is really about establishing a common data layer across the business, aggregating those silos and managing those silos into one clear data source, is critical. So when we're talking about those data silos, we're referring to things like the point of sale data, CRM data, customer data. There might be some product or production data. There's typically going to be back office data, so financial data. All of a sudden, simply, if you wanted to have one view of the franchisee, for example, they're going to be represented in each of those data sources. So being able to have a universal identifier across all of those single sources in one platform, or simply what we call a data warehouse, enables you then to interrogate that data with accuracy, and you've got one version of the truth. So the fourth most common problem is around the gatekeeper. So the gatekeeper is typically going to be an IT person, or it could be the CFO or a CIO. And what we've found is that the demand for data has really outpaced the resources available within franchisors. So one person has become responsible not only for managing the IT needs, but they're now responsible for the full spectrum of data requirements in a franchisor, which has really grown over a period of time. So effectively, it becomes a funnel where there's one person responsible for all of the data resources for the business, and so everything's slowed down. It becomes very frustrating to get things actioned in terms of requests for data. So either the franchisor invests in more people, which is really expensive, or they may choose to partner with a third party to be able to provide that service for them more quickly and typically at a lower cost. The fifth most common problem with data is almost like the aggregation of all of those last 4, which is speed to value. It's the frustration that everyone has great ideas within the organisation as to what they would like to do with data. And typically they're going to be told, yes, we can do that. However, the ROI on that particular project diminishes because of the length of time it takes to deliver it. And so the speed to value for these ideas is absolutely critical so that data can be utilised really efficiently and effectively, and the ROI can be presented very quickly. Once again, this comes down to infrastructure and resources. So it's having the right platform in place and then having the specific resources, which are typically data-specific resources, so data specialists, to be able to get those answers quickly for you. So then what do you do about it? Well, really you've got 3 options. The first is to do nothing. Well, in fairness, just to be really patient. You'll get your results, but it'll take a long time. The second is to invest quite heavily in the resources and the infrastructure that you will need, so the platform to deliver that. Once again, it's a viable option, an expensive option. The third is then to look to partner with organisations who have the skill set, have the platform ready to go, and can actually prove the ROI a lot quicker for you.